Welcome back. Our next guest is a trailblazer, and I've been saying this actually since the beginning of the show. Her company, The Honey Pot, was really first to market. It was so ahead of the curve, and it was the only brand out there that I was seeing as a woman that spoke to my aspirations of being ecological and, you know, having sort of a North Star that made me feel good about myself as a woman for the products I was purchasing. And I really attribute the movement to the person I'm sitting next to. Her new memoir, by the way, The Soul Instinct, which I have a copy of right here, is out now. Please welcome Beatrice Dixon. I am like, I know, I feel the same way. And I don't want to drop a name because I'm so anti that, but Gwyneth Paltrow is our connection.
Yes.
And
yes.
Boy, that is an exciting one to say. I have to say. And we spoke briefly, and actually Gayle King too. Like the four of us got together and we're like, wait, we've got to continue to talk about your story.
Thank you.
Because it is a story. And you have had a life as well as, you know, this incredible business. And I was curious, the tipping point, the why, you know, and you explain it in the book, but like, what were you not seeing out there? What did you want to fulfill? What was your personal reason? Because I think when we do things, we do make it for other people.
Yes.
But I feel like the things that are personal are usually best.
Yeah, I do too, which is why I told everybody all my business.
Well, I know a thing or two about that, and I like it.
Yes,
I love just being an open book.
Yeah, well, that's the best thing to do, I think. Here's the thing. I think that when we reach levels of success, I think that sometimes we're not necessarily seen as human. I think sometimes we're not necessarily, it's like you see where you are today, but you don't necessarily know what the breadcrumbs were to get you to that place.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Tell us about those breadcrumbs, because yours are very interesting.
Yes.
As everyone's are, of course, but I'd love to talk about yours.
I've lived a lot of lives. You know, I started my career working in pharmacy. I left pharmacy. I started a cleaning business. The cleaning business did good, but needed to make more money, so I started dancing. You know, one night things got hard, had to pay rent, so I had to do what I had to do that night when I got a proposition. I then went and worked at Whole Foods because I needed to change my life. I needed to change my surroundings, you know. And then during Whole Foods, that's when Honey Pot was born. You know, but everything that I've ever been through, every single thing has prepared me for this moment. And so I think the tipping point for the why behind why it was important to write this book the way that we wrote it and the way that it came out, which actually came out very natural. Like, it wasn't like we sat down and was like, we're going to write this in this chapter and this in that chapter.
It
just flowed. It was just really beautiful flow. You know?
And like, what was a time and place? Was it being at Whole Foods? What was like your personal needs as far as like, something that someone told me, which was my children's grandfather, Ari Kopelman. He was an ad man, and then his account was Chanel, and they asked him to come run the company, so he was the president for 25 years. But he said something to me that I will never forget. I was asking him business advice, and I was starting the first company I'd ever tried to start. It was Flower Beauty. I was new at the game, and I asked him advice, and he said, I want you to go out there and look around and tell me what you see. And I said, okay, I've done that. I've done all the research. I know everything in the landscape. Now what? And he goes, now tell me what you don't see and do that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's what I wanted to do, but it was humbling and scary to hear that, but it never left my brain, and my intentions.
Right.
And I think that's what you did with the honey pot. It just wasn't around. It wasn't in the marketplace. It didn't exist. And so was that something that you knew inside, or you just were like, I have a drive and I'm just going towards it?
I was just like, I have a drive and I'm just going towards it. There wasn't anything that was speaking to me as a human being in the marketplace. You know, my vagina was broken. For almost a year. It was crazy. I had bacterial vaginosis. I could not get rid of it. I lived on antibiotics. And now I'm also getting yeast infections because that's what happens with antibiotics, right?
Literally,
so
every antibiotic leads to a yeast infection.
Exactly.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, forget about it.
So you got to take your prebiotics and your probiotics, and
It's
the thing
insane.
you're doing to cure one thing,
it's messing up the other thing.
It is.
So that was it, right? I literally just wanted to fix my body. And when my grandmother came and met me in that place, because it wasn't a dream, we were at a place. When my grandmother came and met me there and gave me this list of ingredients, and I went to work, bought the stuff, made the formula, and it worked. The moment, like the millisecond that it worked, I was like, this is what I do now.
I have found myself as a younger girl, being a girl, going into those big high-stakes meetings.
Yep.
And what do you see when you go into those high-stakes meetings?
I think first and foremost, I see myself. I want to be myself, right?
Yes.
I want to show up as me. I don't want to cover up my tattoos. You know, I'm going to talk the way I talk. Because if I can be grounded in that and be comfortable in that, hi, baby.
Dougie.
If I can be there, then it's going to be fine.
You're talking about the female journey, feminine health, and when you're doing that to a group of men, what is that like?
It was interesting because a lot of the time, you know, my co-founder brother, he was always there with me, right? So it wasn't like I was in the room. We did this stuff together.
Yeah.
But I would always, because they would always kind of go to, well, I don't know anything about this, so I don't know what we're going to talk. And it's like, well, do you date women? Yeah, I'm married. You know, well, do you have a daughter? Right? Yeah. You know, so you do understand a thing or two about vaginas because, first of all, that's how we got here, right?
Yes, we did.
And so, you know, so like I think grounding people. Thank you, guys. I think grounding people in that, and then bringing levity and a little bit of comedy in, and you know. Something might come out my mouth. I don't know why, but it calms people down when you cuss. And so...
Thank God.
It's so right.
Because I cuss all the time.
Me too.
Did you see, like, when I didn't know what you were going to say.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking in the mind frame of a man, and when they're like, we don't understand this stuff, I was like, yeah, no, they really don't. I didn't know what you were going to say, but what you said was so brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, you actually do.
You do.
And you laid out sort of dialogue in a script that completely shifted me and my perspective. And I feel like, did you see that happen to these men in that room?
I did. I would see that happen.
It's a really intelligent approach.
And even bigger than that, sister, even bigger than that, it's like, listen, what I do is a necessity. What we do at Honey Pot, people need.
Yes.
People cannot choose, women cannot choose not to bleed. Right? We take showers every day, so we use our products every day, right? Like, we make products that are necessities. We're not making...
Frivolity is not involved in this company.
It's not. And so, yeah.
We'll be right back.